What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. What we have here in front of us, this is a 2017 Odes Dominator 1000 X4 LT, X4 4-door LT long travel. This guy here, I have known him for quite a while. Actually, I've done warranty work on this thing in the past, probably about 5 years ago, probably 5 years ago now. I think back in 2019. He bought this from a place I was working at. Before I started working there, had to do a header pipe and a few other small things. Header pipe broke off. But on this one here, what we got going on right now is that when he puts it into gear, a lot of times it is not going into gear. So we need to go in there, pull the seats out, the center console out, and then we will adjust the shift linkage, and we'll adjust that while it's in neutral. That way we can get the perfect shifting. So we got to go around, follow the cable down to the back, underneath there, and we'll check all that out, make sure the knuckle and everything is on there, because those are kind of janky too. But what we're first going to do on this guy, we're going to replace the right rear axle. You can see the CV boot's gone. The cage is actually broken on it. I'll shine some light in here while we do it. I do got a new axle right here in a box. This did come from Motorcycle Doctor for a right rear for a 17 Odes. Should match up. So let's go ahead and jump in. Pull this tire off, pull that knuckle off, shock out, get that out, shove a new one in there. Pretty easy peasy, but we'll just run through the process on that. All right, so the lug nuts on this thing are 19. This guy here is a 13, but I think I should have grabbed my, I gotta do a wrench on the bottom one. May not be able to see around my shoulder. 13 millimeter here, break those loose. Here. The good part is the bolts are easy to come in and out of this thing. I don't think I did an axle boot. I think I did both these axle boots, a matter of fact. He had two axle boots roll off. But if I remember right, back in 2018, 19, when he bought this, the axle boots were sliding up inside. It was a pretty big issue with these things. They're so hard. As that thing would flex around in a circle, it just would not let it flex. It would just start kind of binding up and rolling them up. Let me grab a wrench for that real quick, a ratcheting wrench. Yeah, so it's been a long time since this thing's had any type of issues with the axles. So that's pretty good. He uses this on the farm quite a bit, he said. He's also one of the owners of Fazoli's Italian here in Springfield. You guys will see him like at the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds. He has a place out there, and then he has the, I think it's Fazoli's over by Walmart? Target? I forget where exactly it's at. I haven't been there in a long time. But great guy. Takes care of this machine very well. Anytime something goes wrong with it, he calls me, tries to get it in. Oil change, doesn't matter what it is. All right, brakes are off. Next, we're going to go ahead and take the hub off here. This will be a 32 millimeter. If I can't just get it to pop out like that, but probably not. Got that. Let's grab my 32. Let's see if we can do it with electric. We might have to bust air out on this. Yeah, I went to grab some air on that one. Better way would be having a non-deep well socket, but that puts more torque to it. So you guys can see how that's broken and just spins, so it has no drive on the right side at all. And I knew that was going to take a minute. My big air compressor went south, so I have a small portable one I'm using right now. There we go with that. Check the bearings, feels good. We'll want to take out the sway bar link up here. That should be a 19, and I will probably end up using this guy here to get in. Yeah, I can't remember the 13 or a 14 back here. That's a 13. This should be, I think it's not a 19, I think that was a 17 or an 18. Find out where I put it. Alexa, turn off the alarm. I'm doing a 2009 Rebel, Honda Rebel right now, cleaning the gas tank out. I had to cream kit it, so I'm doing the timer. Alexa, turn off the timer. Let's see, I think, is it a 15 or a 16? Yeah, 15. It's been a while since those guys have been out. So if I can't just give it a little love tap there. Sometimes actually pulling this shock mount can really help too. Help take that pressure off. So now we got that pressure off that thing. Should be able to get this to slide right out. Sway bar link come out. Turn this light on I have posted up here. Hopefully it stays in place. You can just see that whole entire deal. Let me grab a bungee or a tie down, run it from up here to here. You can see the whole cage is broken. Whole cage broke. Lost all of the ball bearings are down here, but that whole cage is broke. Let me grab a bungee real quick or tie down. Pull this up here. Get you guys a close up of what's going on. Go. All right, you can see it's still down here in the knuckle, and then you can just see the cage is all broke and everything. So probably to get that out might be a little bit of pain. I may have to take a pry bar. Okay, you don't put pressure on this thing. Okay, you don't push backwards on the pry bar. You just put the pry bar behind there and just barely push on it, and you tap the outside of that CV joint, and usually that'll make it pop out pretty easily. So I'm gonna go ahead and put you back on the mount. We'll get it out of the knuckle down here, and then we'll work on getting that out. I think I'm gonna go ahead and pull the shock the rest of the way out. But again, let's first get it out of the knuckle, get this thing off to the side since we don't need it anymore, throw it in the trash, and then let's get that rest of that CV joint off. All right, so let's grab this guy. I don't have any gloves on, which I should probably have gloves on. That cage is broken. Let's get that off to the side here. And I might have to tap front of this with a hammer to get that out. Woo! She's stuck in there pretty good. Oh, the ball bearings are falling out everywhere. Well, let's get this whole knuckle off. I might have to press this thing out on my press. Because it doesn't want to come out. Let's see what happens if I give it a couple more good smacks. Yeah, it's coming out, but I'm gonna walk this over to my press and press it out. All right, so now we're at the lovely, this lovely part. So what we're gonna do, try to get you an angle here. I'm gonna take, I might be able to just barely push on this and get it out. Again, I don't know. Let me try to get this jack handle out of the way. I'm not saying it's not gonna come out. I didn't try. Oh, yep, it just came right out. But what you can do, okay, again, you don't wanna pry and put pressure against the housing right here. You wanna go back there and barely push, and you tap on this, on your CV joint, and that will actually work itself loose. So we got this one out, that's awesome. You know, everybody wants to talk about, let's see inside of one of these things. So let me grab a rag, wipe my hand off, and we'll shine some light down inside that rear diff so you guys can see inside there. And we'll cut open this other box for this other rear axle. All right, anyways. Let's pull you guys off the stand here. That's the inside of the rear diff. Now you can see that pin that goes through there. Now if that comes out, that will destroy that outer clutch case. Now you can see all the, my God, splines and all that good stuff. So on the Commander 650, the front end was really notorious for that pin coming out and blowing up the front differential. It was a big problem. I ran across it 3 or 4 different times. Sometimes these also do that. That pin slides out. So if you take your rear end ever apart, like completely, make sure that pin is centered up and flush. So that's the inside of that. See, you cannot get to the other axle to punch it out. Barely. You might be able to get underneath that pin on the rear diff, on that planetary, but I doubt it. I mean, I'm sure you can with a flat screwdriver, so you may be able to punch it out if you need to. So, but that's the inside of that. There's the actuator, all that crap. So let's throw you back on here. I'll open this new axle up out of the box, and then we'll go ahead and slam it back in, slam this thing together, and I'll give you guys a torque spec. Show you something real quick, guys. There's a slight variation in this one. You can see this is a smooth surface, and that one has a little bit of a spline on it. Not a big deal, same length, same size. So we're just gonna go ahead and just slide it back in. Bam. That one's that quick and easy. Snapped all the way back in, nice. And these boots are actually, feel like they're a little more softer than the old school ones, the older version. So let me go ahead, and you can see we're got good grip there. Pull this tape off because the cotter pin is actually on the other side of this, taped to the axle, which is a miracle. How nice is that? Comes with a new nut for the end. New cotter pin taped to it. So now we're just gonna go ahead and back you guys back up, throw you over here, and we'll just start slapping this thing back together. Very easy, not hard at all. So we just gotta make sure we put everything in the correct direction, get all these little caps back on, and then we can go through later on and lube all this up. That way we get no creaking and popping, and the bushings don't wear out on this thing. So let's go ahead and throw this back together, just the opposite of what we just did. Because you got a big side and a small side. So the small one goes down there on the bottom. We'll slide this back over, and then hopefully we'll get that back. There we go. There we go. And then we'll pull the bottom up, throw our bolt back through. Not worried about that one at the time, for the time being. Now it's gonna be a little bugger, huh? Usually I don't have any issues. Usually I just slap these things right back together. There we go. Come back. You go there. There's that one. That guy should come right off. And then that should be the same length for the top. Oh, I probably should go ahead and put the shock back in first. But let me go ahead and just lower this. Almost forgot I took that whole entire shock out. I do that, but it's been so long since I've done one of these. I forgot. grab our spacers. We'll see if we can't get the shot go back in through the top. Maybe, maybe not. What did I do? This will work. Let's give it a little tap. Oh, come on, baby. Yeah. Remember, on the shock, you have long ones and short ones again. Let's make sure we got the nozzle for the air, for the nitrogen facing this way. There's that. Throw a nut on it. There's that, and we'll do the same to the bottom. Square it all up, lift up. Ah! Grab another bolt for that. Come on, baby. Talk about struggling. I need a car lift. Anybody want to sponsor me with a car lift or a mini split? Because it is hot as bejesus out here today. There we go, got that. Throw a nut on this one. Alexa, turn off the 8-minute timer. I'm doing so many things. You're gonna hear me say that quite a bit. Some cream in this tank. That one. Try to get our well, may have to loosen that to get that bad boy back in. I don't know what you guys can and can't see from your angle. You can pretty much see everything. Take that one out one more time, that way we can move that around. Get it lined up, throw that back in. Nut. And there's a shorter nut. Oh, that just rolled a mile away. That we'll put back on the sway bar link. These two nuts will go back down here for your knuckle. Honestly, it doesn't matter which direction you put these. You know, some people will put them this direction, that way they think it wiggles out this way. It doesn't really bother me which direction they go in. So we'll run these in tight, but then we'll torque it down. I have to look at the torque specs for you guys, just so bear with me. We'll run these in real quick. It's a 14. Where's my 15? There it is, down here. Just run these guys back in. We're not going to tighten them, that's it. That out of there, and then the sway bar one, I will need my swivel extension wherever I put it at. If I can get it in here right right again. I might need my shorty for that. Just because of the angle we're sitting at now with it. Yeah, I'm going to have to get my shorty for that one. So I'll see if I don't have a wrench here for it, unfortunately. But anyways, so let me look up the torque specs, let you guys know the torque specs of the shock, the sway bar link, and the knuckle. All right, here we go. It's gonna take me a second to read off this stuff. So the rear shock absorber, as I call this, you're gonna have 76 through 100 Newton meters, or 57.6 to 73.8 foot-pounds on both of these. And then let's see, let me read down my list here. Rear bolt, stop brake, pump calipers are 10. They're gonna be, they say 80 Newton meters on that. Let me make sure that, nope, I'm sorry. Bolt, brake caliper, yeah, they say 80 Newton meters. Bolt of brake stop disc, 26. That's 8 mil nut, yeah, that's an 8 millimeter nut. That's not a 10 mil nut. So that's gonna be 26 Newton meters on these here. And then let's see, I'm looking around on this thing. I mean, I got a whole list of stuff right here. I'm actually watching my YouTube video I just uploaded from the T-Boss 410. Give myself a view. Right there's the deal on that. And I'll have to scramble through and find it for what the knuckle is. So again, of course, you know, you got, depending on the grade of bolt, you'll have different stuff here. I don't know how good that zooms in or zooms out. My eyes don't work that good anymore anyways. But so let me look what the rear knuckle is on this thing. That way I get that right. But that's a 10 millimeter bolt. So it's most likely going to be around probably close to 80 or 56. All right, so basically what I got here, I got installation mounting nut of wheel rim is 60 Newton meters, or 6.1 kgf.ems. I kill whatever the hell that is. I forget how to even pronounce what it is. Wheel nut hub is 300 Newton meters. Differentials are 80 for the 10 mil bolt. So I'm gonna guess these are 12s anyways. So those are gonna be close to, I'm gonna say, I'll probably do 80 on those. Because I have not found the torque spec for that. Rear bolt for propeller. And I don't see anything here. Mounting nut, 60, wheel hub, fastener, differential, front propeller, 40, bolts, you know, 8, 10. So 10 mil bolt is 80, it says Newton meters, 8 mil is 40, 12 mil is around 80 also. So let's just say 80, we're gonna do, I'm sorry, yeah, 80. It says 80 on these. I'm not gonna do those quite at 80. I think that's a little overkill. I'll do this one at 80, and then these guys, I forget what I said those were. I'll have to go back and look again what those were. But we'll go ahead and torque all that stuff real quick. I'm just gonna hit the nut down here with my air gun. It's 300 Newton meters. I don't have a torque wrench that goes to 300 Newton meters. I will not buy one because it is so rare that I do something that takes 300 Newton meters that it's just a waste of money for me. So I'm gonna put that back on, hit that with a gun, put a new pin in it, put everything back together here, and then we'll move on to the shifting issue this thing has. All right, all back together. Everything is torqued down. Drop it off the jack. I'm gonna spin this thing around and we'll work on that shifting issue. All right, man, we got this thing flipped around, got a light in there so we see what's going on. So what we gotta do now, we gotta pull the driver's seat out, passenger seat out, the shift knob off, which should be pretty simple. Usually you can just take those and just spin them like this. We'll put it in, whoop, a little too far, we gotta get back down. We'll put it in neutral so we can get this thing to come straight up and off. Pull the e-brake up, this will spin off. Now, some other problems we've had in the past is this little guy breaks off and it messes up the detent down here, so you can't get it in and out of gear. Again, the distance, this thing should be pushed in pretty much about flush. You don't want it to really where you can shift it. You can shift out of reverse into high, but you don't want to be able to like slam it in reverse on accident. So what we got to do, pull the seats out, disconnect the seat warmers. Now on these things, pretty jankety how it works. If you turn the seat warmer down here on high, it'll either warm your back or your butt, not both. You might be able to tie into one circuit and make it do that, warm them both at the same time. I don't see why you couldn't. It may blow the circuit though. But if you turn it on low, you're either gonna heat your butt or your back. So if you want it high, and you know you need to make sure you plug your back seat warmer into the right circuit. Same color, same pattern, same whole 9 yards. So they're not really, ooh, it gets hotter, or ooh, it's lower. No, it's either one or the other, either your butt or your back, depending on if it's which circuits it's into. I'll leave a link in the description for these guys. These are my favorite pliers for pulling out these guys here. Go in, pull it out, and pretty much said and done already. See how simple that was? I love these things. I got them off Amazon. Been in quite a few of my other videos, but again, I'll look them up and leave a link in the description. So I'm gonna pull the seats out, pull this cover off. We have to take the seat belts out. I believe that's a 16 and a 14. And then you'll have this screw here on each side and a couple of the push pins back here. This whole center console will come right out. All right, guys, got the seats out. Like I was saying, the color coordination here is pretty much the same when you go from your seat. Now, these are different. Now, your seat ones are the same color, but these are different colors, so you can figure out which is which one's high, which one's low. Just flip that switch, whatever. And you guys see in the past, I've done this I did this years ago. It's an acoustic heat barrier on this thing. That way it keeps that heat down off of this. So you're on the driver's side now. We'll take a look at the rectifier, the stator, I'm not the stator, but the stator regulator rectifier plug. The stator plug looks really good, no issues there. So let's walk over to the other side. Again, we want to be in neutral when we adjust this. So let's walk around to the other side. Just smack my head on the top of this thing. So over here, you can see your O2 sensor plug, coil 1, coil 2, coolant, your bleeder valves, injector 1, injector 2, so on and so forth. The front O2 sensor. Down here, you can see your gear position sensor, and here is your adjustment for the my gosh, I'm going 3 quarters retarded. Adjustment for your shift linkage. Now again, you want to make sure you're perfectly in neutral. He says he's having an issue getting into high and low. Sometimes it doesn't want to go all the way. So he's got to push a little forwards or move it around a little bit. So we want to adjust this, again, in neutral. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and loosen this up and see where this falls for neutral. Now if you look how loose that is. See how bad that is? See how loose that is? It has slid off of the knuckle there. So it's gonna just flop around. This little pin needs, this little bolt's gotta sit in between here. So you can just see how floppy loose that is. So that's gonna cause a big problem with this shifting. So we're gonna have to go ahead and pull this back with a 10 and an 8 on this side, get it centered back up, tighten it down, and we'll check the adjustment after that. All right, remember I was talking about these knuckles earlier in the video. These splines will get wore off. This one's not wore off yet. It just probably wasn't set on there right. So it's got to be, right now we're in neutral, okay? And I know the transmission's in neutral also. So we're gonna go ahead and line this up. We'll check the play in this thing. There's hardly any play at all. And we'll go ahead and slide this back on here. Right there is where it should be. This bolt should line up with that slot right there, okay? Then we want to make sure that there's not really any play in that line. Try to get that lined up as good as possible. I know they need to make, I don't know if they updated, it's been a while since I worked on another one. I'm not sure if they updated these to a solid piece of, now like you do your bikes and stuff, but I know guys have done that. So we're in neutral up here. Transmission I know is in neutral. That is set up. I'm gonna run this bolt back through, tighten it back up, and then hopefully when we shift this thing into gear, we no longer have any grinding or slipping out. All right, we got it tightened back up. I got the driver's seat in. Let's grab this. We'll spin this bad boy back down on here. Check the button push. I think it's a little low. If we can come up more, or I should say down more. Let me pull that down. Now we don't want it down to where it actually pushes pressure down on that knob where it can be shifted without it. Come up a little more turns. I want it to go where it goes all the way pretty much in, right to where it starts to go inside the shifter. So right about here, and this is a 17 millimeter, and we'll just hold this in place and I'll tighten this up by hand for a moment. So let's fire this thing up. I do have that in the back, so that might fly around a little bit. The other seat's out of the way. All right. Of course, it's a little bit louder without the center console in. Throw this thing in reverse. I like to watch my gauges on this one. E-brake off. We're in two-wheel drive. Let's back out of the shop. Make sure I don't hit the Banshee behind me. Throw this thing back into low without doing anything. See if it catches. Okay, that caught right away. Back to reverse. So I can't get out of reverse right now, so that's good. Cut the wheel. Like I said, I want to smack the floor behind me. Now we're going to go right to low. I didn't try to jam it or anything like that. It's right to low range. Seems like it caught right away. So we'll stop. We'll go to reverse, neutral, throw it in park. No problem shifting right now. Feels really good. Okay, right to high, right in the middle. Let's see if it catches it high or grinds. Seems like I caught pretty good. So let's take it for a drive. Scream it again. We'll take it for a drive and see if it comes out of high gear. Usually when you step on the gas, let off, step on, let off. Seems like everything's holding the gear like it should. For a second, shift to low, right to low, jams right in, no problem. Good engine brake on the clutch, right back to high, goes right in. Back to park, shut this thing down. Well, I guess we really didn't have to adjust the cable on this. The 800s are way easier because it's actually a rod. Again, you adjust these things when these vehicles are in neutral, and the Odes is in neutral. This is a 17, 18, 19, 15, 14, 13. I know that you do all those in neutral. Now, the newer ones, the newer Jungle Crosses, which are, you know, all that stuff, some of these things you do have to adjust while they are either in high gear or low gear, I'm not sure. But most of these things I adjust in reverse or in neutral, because that gives you that perfect sequence between high, low, reverse, and the park on this thing. So we got lucky on this one. It was just the shift knuckle, like I see a million times. It slid in off the splines. It wasn't super duper tight. I have never adjusted the shifter in this thing. And that's something that needs to be looked at service. But again, I haven't seen this thing in 5 or 6 years. So he said it was progressively getting worse. So now we know why it was progressively getting worse, because it slid off and it's probably missing on a spline every now and then. So now it's all lined back up, tightened down, adjusted in neutral. We put an axle in this thing. I read off most of the torque specs I could find in the service manual for it. You know, again, you can just go off the size of the bolt. If it's a 6 mil, 8 mil, 10 mil, 12 mil, they're all different foot-pounds or newton meters. I use newton meters because I do a lot of Japanese stuff. So guys, again, a 17 Odes Dominator 1000 L was it X4LT, however you want to do it. So axle in it, saw it broke, got that from the motorcycle doctor. Great place for knowledge on his website, knowledge and all that stuff. He's got knowledge stuff for all types of stuff. And if you're looking for Odes parts, you got to type in Odes in the search bar on there. I deal with him quite a bit. I used to like it when he was here in Missouri, not too far from me, but now he's in Florida. I get it. I lived in Florida for a long time. Love it down there. But again, guys, if you haven't subbed, please do. Leave a thumbs up, thumbs down. I don't have my shirt on today, but I do have shirts that are available. They're $25 shipped to you. I do have some hats in. They're going to be $30 shipped to you. Let me know if you want one. I got kids sizes available. I got some tank tops available. Again, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. And I got that word right for once. And I will catch you guys on my next upload.